That's enough about old games, though. I've spent too much time speaking of them. Let's talk about new games. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the PlayStation Showcase, where they showed off new games, allegedly. So, did you see the whole show?
I just kind of skipped around.
Okay, yeah, and I caught mostly the second half of it. Like, I tuned in as soon as I heard Metal Gear Solid 3 got a remake. I had to tune in. I was like, oh, really? So that's where I jumped in, and I just kind of looked at the other announcements. But what were your thoughts on what they showed overall? And did anything stand out to you?
I'd say Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, the third game, which is chronologically the first in the MGS world, I guess.
It's one of the fan favorites too, yeah.
I'd say so. It's probably between that and the second game, Sons of Liberty. I am not an MGS person. I've always wanted to be. I threw a game on the PlayStation 1 at least, because I know there's one on NES, which is a bit different. But either way, yeah, I'd say that one. Final Fantasy 16 is another one I'm excited to see. I know that it's kind of gone through some changes since we've seen and been shown, and I hope that they take feedback. I've heard a few things with the latest gameplay trailers. Just some fans being like, oh, hey, maybe we can quality of life update that, or little things like that. And I think it's nice that people can express themselves like that. I just hope, look, man, after 15 was released, and 9 is a big hit. Everybody out there who loves that game and continues to pay for it and plays it, loves it. And that's fantastic. And it's still supported, right? It's long-standing online game now. But for a mainline Final Fantasy game, we haven't had a good launch for one in a while. So I'm really just praying that this one is solid, because the franchise needs it.
Right. Yeah, I still have to wait for more on 16. I don't like the action style for Final Fantasy, and to me that's just not Final Fantasy. I'm an old school purist. 12 is probably the closest we got to an action game that I was okay with, because there was still a lot of actual menu based actions in the game, and it was kind of nice having that freeform exploration and the battle seamlessly on the map. So it was very much like Xenoblade. That's probably why I like Xenoblade. It strikes the best balance between the action and the actual JRPG turn-based elements.
I want to give a shout out to, since it's in the same franchise, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Crystal Chronicles had that fighting, battle, mechanic where you're able to walk up and you have a circumference, just like in 12, of where your range is for your party members and where they can attack and stuff. But in Crystal Chronicles, it's a little bit more controlled, but multiplayer, hey, multiplayer with the GBA on the GameCube. Yeah, and I can totally respect having that love for classic Final Fantasy, and that's why I think Remake has that sweet spot where it does slow down and feel a bit more strategy based, where you're not mashing buttons. Sure, there's combos and stuff, right, but you're not just doing that and drilling away like a hack and slash. You're still,
there's still a lot of stats and calculations going on under the hood. It still felt like a JRPG. Right. And then I fully agree with you on there.
And you want that. I feel like that element is when they struck success, and that's why everybody loves Remake. And they've gotten so many new fans because of it. It's a little bit of column A and B for the old fans and the new fans. So I don't know. May it be how it is, but I wish them the best. That was one that it was nice to just see that they're continuing to show us stuff for it. I do appreciate that. I know Dragon's Dogma 2 was widely well received. I don't think anybody even knew about that coming into this.
I think there was a rumor, but I don't know if there was anything a concrete announcement for that. So that was a really nice surprise.
I don't know anything about Bungie's announcement of new Marathon, so I did skip that.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. There was a lot of trailers that were very abstract, They didn't really show anything about the game. It was just like, look, things are happening. This is a video game coming soon.
I feel silly for not saying Street Fighter 6. I know I'm not like Street Fighter pro or guru or really anything. I'm a casual, right? But I do love the direction of where this next game's going compared to 5. And, I understand that. And I do play all of the entries. I just don't, go to tournaments or anything. But that seems like a lot of fun. Hope that's also really a positive release and it's well supported.
It looks good. They brought style back to Street Fighter. I'm excited for 6.
Hey man, you brought up Foam Stars, I think like a week ago. Whenever this was. But yeah, you talked about it being like a Splatoon
knockoff. God. Yeah, it's like they took Overwatch's character models and then just put Splatoon's mechanics into it. It's made by Square Enix, so like this isn't. I don't know, man. This looks awful. I'm just gonna be real with you. It's so visually messy. They didn't understand what made Splatoon work so well, and they straight up copied some of the specials too. That's what was super funny about it. Like, it's colorful, yeah. I mean, you got that part down, but.
You think it's going to become a PlayStation Plus game pretty soon after release?
If not, then this is one of those end of service announcement year after release type of games. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't see this being very successful. You know what I mean? Like that's
unfortunate. I feel like it happens with Sony more than anybody else. Like they really try with all these like one-off IP. Like they try to do multiplayer stuff, and it just like
Babylon's Fall. Anyone?
Yeah, perfect example. But yeah, so there's that.
It looks like it could be free to play, which could extend its life a little bit. It might be a Ninjala type release. So we'll see. We don't know if this is a game that they're going to be selling for money or if it is like a free to play type experience. If it is a free to play, I could see it, sticking around for a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know anything about Phantom Blade. I probably shouldn't be commenting on it if I don't. We don't have to go through all of it. But how about you? What was the standout for you, or which standouts were there?
So you talked about Phantom Blade briefly there. It does look like it could be good. It also looks like it could be a Ghost of Tsushima clone, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. So I think the jury's still out on that one. We'll have to see more before really diving into it. But in terms of me, the biggest ones, Metal Gear Solid 3, like I'm not a big Metal Gear guy either, but I understand the gravity of a remake of 3. That's pretty cool. I thought Grand Blue Fantasy Relink was a pretty big deal because that's a game that we've been teased for going on like 4 years now, I think. Oh no, 2016 was when it was announced.
Oh no.
Yeah, like when the PS4 was still like, I don't even think the PS5. Yeah, PS5. The Switch wasn't even out when this was announced. So it's finally coming. PS5, PS4, and PC. It looks really good. It's about time. But other than that, we got to talk about Spider-Man. I mean, that was the highlight of the show. We'll talk about the hardware in a second because that's its own conversation, in my opinion. But what Spider-Man looks good. We'll get to it. Spider-Man looks good. We expected it to. That's probably, besides Metal Gear Solid 3, probably the biggest lock in the showcase. That it's going to be amazing. I actually didn't realize it was Spider-Man at first. I was like, hey, is this the gritty Wolverine game we were promised? Because it showed Kraven like choking a dude out. So I thought it was that at first, but no, it was just Spider-Man. And I don't know, it looks like there might be some multiplayer elements to it. Just with Miles Morales being there along with Peter, that would be super hype. I would be happy about that. What'd you think of Spider-Man 2?
That 2 was just like bashing your keyboard, the number 2 key. You're just like,
what does that mean?
I don't know. Just the way you said it, the tone. It was just like, 2.
All right. So what'd you think of Spider-Man 2?
Wow. I don't know why I didn't expect both of them to be in there, considering the last 2. Well, the first game, and then you have, Miles Morales. We got to actually play as both, so having them both in the same game, and there seems to be kind of thing going on with Pete, with like his powers and stuff, getting some Spider-Man 3 vibes.
Anything with symbiote, suit, and Venom are an automatic win for me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everybody loves loves that darker side for heroes and their arcs, and that's one of them that I know I love, and yeah, clearly it's a fan favorite to explore. So hopefully they have good, storytelling. It's Insomniac. They haven't messed it up, like even with the PS4 port of the game, right? Or was it the PS5 port? I'm thinking of Spider-Man, where they kind of changed Peter a little bit and added a few things.
Yeah, they changed his model, which a lot of people were pretty upset
Right.
about because he looks a little bit closer to Tom Holland from the movies.
Yeah, that's how I believe in the latest remake for Last of Us. Even Ellie and Joel look a little different, Ellie than Joel, but yeah, no, it seems really cool. I love the combat. It seems the whole stylistic, take that they have on it. It kind of pulls you in. It has an effect where it seems like addictive gameplay is what I mean, and that's what you want for a superhero game. You want something that's bombastic and fun and full of surprises and new enemies and ways to just giving you that tool set where you just can go crazy with the character. You're stepping in their shoes, but there's that little bit of identity that comes out in the mechanic of the player and how they play. So hopefully that also has that depth. I know the previous games had to a degree, but maybe in this game go even further now that Peter's fighting with something within him. Maybe there's like two different ways to play where there's like the hero and and then Miles can be there to help out. But what did you think?
I think it looks awesome. I'm not really, it's not going to push me over any edge to buy a PS5 necessarily, but it's definitely something I'll keep an eye on and 1 year from release to see if it pops up on Steam, because it definitely looks like a game that I'd have a lot of fun with. And to their credit, it looks next gen. They finally cut the cord with the PS4 so they can go all in, and it looks good. Like the light reflections on Kraven's face when he looks at the tablet, like it's just a really good looking game. But more importantly, it looks like a fun game, because Sony is really good at making good looking games, but just for my personal gaming tastes, not all of them are always fun.
That's a great point. I know Horizon Forbidden West is one of those where it looks really good, but as a sequel, from what I've seen and even heard from players from it as well, I haven't played it myself. There's just certain aspects of the first game they kind of miss, so going into a sequel, there's always that chance that something doesn't line up with that first iteration. But as I said before, with Insomniac and their track record, I've been able to trust a lot of their creative decisions with the games that I've played from them. And yeah, for the record, I have not played Spider-Man or Miles Morales. I do know little bits about them. I just personally haven't gotten into it 100%, but I do own them, and I do want to play them. So this is one I didn't mention because I just until I play those first two. But yeah, I do really like what they're bringing this time around. So yeah, exciting stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it wasn't a bad presentation overall. Like, I liked a lot of the things they showed, but there was also a lot of head-scratching things like, why did this need to be here kind of thing? Like just wait until you have more to show what kind of game it is. I'll be honest, for me, this is probably like a 5 or 6 out of 10.
That's fine. It seemed to be rated that in some of the polls I took on YouTube.
Yeah, that seems the general consensus. Like, only the hardcores of Sony fanboys are like, that was incredible. Like, most people agree it was lacking in a lot of things, but also at the same time, there were some pretty cool things there.